Is Xbox giving up on consoles? Is the Xbox Series X and Series S the last consoles we'll be getting? It might be. I'm a little scared. So here's the thing. I've been an Xbox gamer for a long time, ever since I was a little kid, and I have had all of the Xbox consoles. I haven't missed a generation. And now we're at a place where I think we've had a really rough go with consoles with the last generation. I think both Xbox and PlayStation felt this a bit, but I think Xbox felt it even worse than PlayStation did. So with the Xbox Series X and Series S, it was not a good release, right? We just didn't have enough consoles. Things were really expensive. It was weird. It was a weird time, and it created a scarcity that I think also just made people both kind of want to get involved and also not want to get involved, like on both sides of it. And the other issue for me was that I was kind of asking myself, like, why do I need a new console? Like, I have a One. I was already kind of late to that generation. I still have my 360 too, honestly, and I just feel like the 360 was the last console where I really felt like we got an upgrade, a significant upgrade. Here's the thing. So Microsoft has Game Pass, and Game Pass is obviously booming. It's doing really well for them. And we're going to be entering a new era, and considering that Xbox Series X and Series S did not do well, I think right now what's happening is over at Xbox, they might be asking themselves whether or not to even continue with Xbox as a console. There was this article that IGN did where they basically talked to Peter Moore about what he thinks the future of Xbox will be. Obviously, Peter Moore is not the head of Xbox right now, but he was the head of Xbox. He was there during the 360 era. He's the guy that got tattoos for Xbox. So he has some thoughts on sort of the whole idea of where it could be going in the future. And also just as someone that's worked in gaming for a long time and both had failures and successes that he's had to sort of work with and figure out what to do next. And the hard thing that he is saying about hardware is that it's really expensive and you have to ask yourself if it's like worth the cost. Obviously, Microsoft has also been talking a lot about Game Pass and how obsessed they are with like Game Pass, and they've actually tried to get Game Pass on other consoles as well. And it seems like their CFO's goal is to get Game Pass on as many consoles as possible. As many screens, I believe, is the direct quote, as possible. There was an article that Game Rant did back in November of 2023 before the Gamer Awards happened, where they were talking about what CFO Tim Stewart was saying about that and just how he really wanted to expand Game Pass, and that's like a big goal for Microsoft, which I understand. Game Pass obviously is really good. It makes people a lot of money. I also really love Game Pass because I do think it makes gaming a little bit more accessible for people. It's giving you access to like a whole library of games for I think a relatively affordable like monthly fee, but it is a subscription fee. It is a separation between kind of controlling as much what you're playing because you only have access to what's on Game Pass. And I think it also becomes this question of digital versus physical media, right? Peter Moore kind of talks about this when he's talking about his opinions on where Xbox will go next and how the future might be more of cloud gaming versus like physical media. And I gotta say something. I think that there's a lot of people that want that to be the case, that are working in the business, but I'm not sure if that's how all consumers feel. I don't know you that is watching this video personally, but I'd love to ask you about what do you prefer? Do you prefer digital or do you prefer physical? Or do you like to do a combination of the two, honestly? I like to do a combination of the two. I like digital and I like physical, but the thing that I really like about physical media is it is a way for me to really make sure I'm preserving what I have. Physical games, I can always play them. As long as I have a console that operates, that can run the game, as long as that's good, I can play them. And same with DVDs and movies. Then if I own the DVD and I have something I can play it on, I can play it. I'm a person that still has a ton of DVDs. I still buy books. I like physical media. Obviously, sometimes I like owning material things a little too much, as is evident by my background. But I think that's what it comes down to in terms of you know, what do we prioritize? Or not even prioritize, but like, do we even continue with Xbox consoles? Moore was also saying that apparently back in 2007, they were even having this conversation then. So he's just saying with the way that everything is shifting, he wouldn't be surprised if that's where the conversation goes and we actually come up with an answer of like, yeah, we're not going to do consoles anymore. Which I think would be insane, because here's the thing. I am a gamer who games on a lot of devices. I play games on my iPad, I play games on my phone, I play games on my consoles, I play games on handheld consoles, on, you know, more like home entertainment consoles, on PC. So I'm obviously maybe a bit of an outlier in the sense that I kind of game on everything, but PCs are definitely the least accessible, I think, form of gaming, in the sense that it's the most expensive option. The reason I think that consoles have existed for so long and hopefully will continue to exist is that I do think it makes gaming more accessible. You're only paying a few $100s as opposed to maybe a few $1,000s for a gaming computer. However, we do have to consider that the console prices just keep kind of going up. And then it kind of gets to a point of you have to ask yourself, which I did. I didn't end up getting a Series X right away. I was actually gifted my Series X. It was a birthday gift. And I had to ask myself, do I prioritize like raising funds for that or raising funds for a PC? And obviously, as I also am a streamer, PC took precedence, and I was able to put some money in and also get it sort of crowdfunded as well within my community, which also thank you if you were one of the people that donated to that cause. It has changed my life as a content creator, but that's me also considering it as a content creator. And I kind of said, this is really expensive. I could spend more and kind of get more. So I do think PC gaming continues to be strong and on the rise, but I just don't see consoles like going away. Peter Moore also talks about how this next generation is not like hardcore gamers, and how a lot of them like just want to like game casually, like on their phones. And it is true that mobile gaming is a huge market. Like in 2023, the mobile gaming content market was actually valued at apparently an estimated $140.5 billion US dollars. And projections basically indicate that, you know, this figure is just going to surpass that and it's going to surpass like 173.4 billion by 2026. That's a direct quote from an article on LinkedIn talking about the mobile gaming market trends and kind of where we expect them to go. So it's only going to grow. It's billions of dollars. Now, granted, gaming in general is billions of dollars. And I just don't think that it's true that the younger generation only wants to game on their phone. Peter Moore says like phones and PCs is like where we're headed, and that's like it. And like people don't really use consoles. Because the other thing that I think we have to consider here is the success of the Nintendo Switch, which such a successful console. And I think with Nintendo Switch 2, we could also see another amazing win for Nintendo in the console wars, which I don't think really exist in 2024 anymore. But I will say that I think Nintendo has the best console because their console is doing something fun, unique. It's allowing you to have a home entertainment gaming console and have it on the go, and it's just doing something different. I think my issue with PlayStation and Xbox in terms of the newer console generations is what are we really getting that's new? And I mean, a lot of the times it feels like the push is for graphics, but if you want great graphics, you could just get a PC. I don't know, it's making me nervous in terms of what the future could be. It could be that we see Xbox completely get rid of their console and just pivot to Game Pass and trying to get Game Pass on every single other console. But the other thing that worries me about this is if we were to do that, which obviously I love Game Pass. I have Game Pass. If you don't have Game Pass, I think you should get it. It's awesome. But just Game Pass, no console, is, I think the console helps Xbox and Microsoft, obviously, to focus on what games they want on that console, right? So we're losing a branch of exclusives, which I'm very anti-exclusive. As a consumer, I really don't like exclusives. I think they make gaming less accessible. I wish all games could just be on all platforms, and that was it. But exclusives do help with funding projects. So if we lose that, and we also lose kind of a drive for making games for this console, the question becomes, how does that affect the games that we're getting? How does that affect the funding for that? how does that affect even the quality of games that I think we're going to get? I think especially if we pivot to mobile gaming, it makes me nervous about what quality of games we could get. Because here's the other thing. If I want to game on my phone only has so much space on it. I'm constantly running out of space on my phone, by the way. Have to go through my phone right now because I'm almost out of space, because I'm also using it for work. I'm making content on my phone. I'm taking pictures. There's so much stuff I have on my phone that I do daily, that when you're like, oh, and then you could also just like game on your phone all the time. I'm like, I don't have space for that, especially if I want to play a big game. People are also just saying that people don't want to play big games anymore. Like, there's just not a desire for that, is something also that Peter Moore said. That, I mean, he says some things that I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a good point. Then he says things and I'm just like, I disagree with this wholeheartedly. Because I just think, what do you mean nobody's playing big games anymore? Like Baldur's Gate 3, like Hogwarts Legacy. These are massive games that came out last year that are big RPG, open world games, massive size in terms of the space that it's going to take up on your device, massive games. And I can't do that on my phone. Like, I just don't have the space. So unless we're gonna have phones that are like this big so we can like fit all the space for our games and our videos and everything on there, I find it hard to believe that that's gonna be where we go next, unless of course we're just cutting down what the game is. So like, instead of it being Baldur's Gate 3, it's like Baldur's Gate Bejeweled Deluxe, and like that's what it becomes. But I just don't, I mean, I think there's always going to be a market for these bigger games, so I don't see us fully going that way. Peter Moore is also kind of talking about the idea that people like myself are basically, we're all getting older and like our market is dying, and that this is the younger market, that's what they want. So I need to know, especially if you are part of that market, like if you're Gen Z, like how do you game? Like what do you like to game on? Like, are you mostly mobile? Is this true? Is this based on something? I don't know. I don't buy it. It makes me uncomfortable too, because if it is correct, the future of gaming seems a little bit bleak. I like Game Pass. I'd be happy about that, but I think if we lose the Xbox, I don't know what consoles will look like in the future. I think it also depends on what PlayStation does. Peter Moore says that, you know, Xbox will probably take their cue from PlayStation in terms of the next generation, which I do think is true. But I don't even know if PlayStation will make another console. We haven't really heard much about like a PS6 or the future of what Xbox could be. And I think if we lose those consoles, it's going to be a huge loss for the gaming market in terms of what kinds of games we're going to be getting and what those investments look like. So yeah, it's a little scary. I'm a little scared. And I just wanted to share my thoughts with you on this, since I saw this article and was kind of reeling and processing it. I'm still processing it, but those are my initial thoughts. Let me know what you think. Do you feel like a future without consoles could be good? Do you feel like it could be bad? Do you think it'll happen? Do you think it won't happen? Do you like Game Pass? Do you think that's the future of gaming and gaming in the cloud is the way to go? How do you feel about digital media versus physical media? Let me know about all these things. Let me know how you game and what you're playing as well. I wanna hear about it. This is my poll to find out if I think we're gonna keep consoles or not. All right, friends, those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay nerdy. Bye.